All right, hey folks, we're going to do some more artwork today for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that we've been creating that we'll be publishing on DMsGuild. Give me a second here to check my signal, make sure I'm coming through okay, and then we will get to work here for 100 minutes or so. So let's see, Wildspace, here we are, episode 297Gs. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good. Let me do some updates here to post through the Twitter, X, and Reddits, and the Discords that I'm up and running. And while I do that, I'll try to distract you with a little self-aggrandizing intro. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links in the description down below that shows previous works that I've created. You can click on any of them to see a free preview of the stuff that I've built. And so you can check that stuff out. As a DM playing 5th edition, I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 200 to 250 hours. So the things that I publish are generally either ideas or tools that manifested over the course of a campaign that was good enough for me to polish and then publish online for other people to check out, like the Theurgy mechanics that I have listed down below for ability check casting during downtime to create magic effects that don't cost resources because you're spending time to do it instead of actions, as well as ability checks. That's like one example. Another example would be this document that we're creating here. Give me a hot second here to reframe things for you to take a look at what we're doing. How's that doing? Are we doing right now? Let's get this out of the way. Reddit, thanks a lot to the Spelljammer Reddit community. You guys are great for being in such interest in the work that I'm doing and supportive. Thank you. Twitter. Hey, I'm on Twitter, X. If anyone else is still out there, you can follow me at Phil Kearney. I always post when I'm live, and occasionally I put artwork and other look-sees and stuff. So it doesn't hurt you to be there if you want to check out what I got going on. Best way to support the channel, though, is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I am live. And thank you. I picked up another follower today, so that is fantastic. Slowly growing. Our first major milestone is going to, of course, be 500 subscribers. So thanks a lot for everybody that's been interested in the stuff that we do. We're at episode 297 right now. We stream artwork here in the mornings, Monday through Friday, as well as other projects during the week. But we have our full playlist here. We created this book cover back around episode 15, so you can jump into that playlist to check that out. So we create, there's that, and good. Okay, great. So we create role-playing games, right? So we'll have an idea for a campaign. I wanted to have more 5e style. After reading the August 2022 offer from Wizards of the Coast, it was thinner on mechanics than what 2nd edition or 4th edition was. And I think people were really expecting a little bit more crunch from the Wizards about the setting, considering how crunchy the mechanics in this setting can be. So there was a misalignment in audience expectations, so it was delivered. So I wanted to play Spelljammer in 5e. I wanted more robust rules than what I had already been using. I was waiting to see what they came out with. It fell shy, so I got to work. And so a year and a half later, here we are. We'll be publishing in the next few weeks. We'll take we build out the document, we play test it. If it works well, then we start wordsmithing it. We hire an editor to make sure that the words are good. When we're all locked down like that, we break up the text into individual bite-sized pieces per page. You can see all these gaps that we have going on here throughout the text. That's where we can put illustrations. So we'll zoom into each individual page. We'll extract this as a PDF that will then drop here into Photoshop. And then we'll start illustrating on it. And then we're done illustrating, as you saw probably in one of the other pieces up further top, as Shapoopy. Thank you. Scroll back up here for you guys to see. Yeah, this will do. So when we finish the illustrations, we then drop them back into the Word document. We can then seal it up as a PDF. Once we get all these hyperlinks taken care of so you can bounce around inside the document easily to find what you're looking for, we hyperlink, we seal it up, and then we publish it online, and you'll have a free preview on DMsGuild to check this stuff out. There's if you buy it, there'll be like around, there's going to be, between everything that we do, there's going to be probably about 10 maps, around, I want to say around 80 some odd tokens for different creatures, ships at different scales, as well as all the NPCs, ships, and monsters needed for playing Light as Araxis as well. So we're trying to offer a lot of value for the work that's in here, so it's a full package, so you can do everything that you want to be able to make it all work together. So that's the idea. So we're just going to get to work. Right now we're making para-elemental worlds. We have world compositions here. If we go back to, let's scroll our way back on down into here. Where'd you go? There you are, buddy. Past the ship hazards, past the creatures menagerie, into the Wildspace system. Okay, great. So, actually, I can probably just do that here as a quick look at. Right. Okay. So yeah, we can just be here. So when you build a world, you have a planet or an asteroid or a moon or whatever. If it's large enough to hold an atmosphere to it because it's at least 10 miles or larger in size, then you would roll on the following table to determine the primary element of each planet or moon. Here you go. Air, earth, fire, water. It's a D8. Or you hit into the 8, which is unusual compositions, which is a D4. Para-elemental world. So instead of being composed of one of the 4 basic elements, it's composed of a para-element. Para-elemental. Here you go. Magma, ooze, ice, and smoke, which is air and fire, water and air, earth and water, fire and earth. There you go. So we're having a depiction of each of those elements here, or para elementals, which we're now painting here. So air, earth, fire, water, and ice, ooze, magma, smoke, maybe. That's how we'll do it. We can rearrange, we can bobble the planets around wherever we want. That's not the big problem. So let's see. I feel like I want to clean up that earth a little bit. So I'm going to peel this open, drop down here into the elements, get into, let's get into earth. I am still struggling with the Light as Araxis conversion. Making it fit the format properly is difficult. It's proving to be very, very difficult for me. So this is the first time I've done a layout for an adventure ever. And there's a lot of new type of information that's included with it just by the nature of the project itself. It's a lot of new tech that I'm finding ways to express how that information should be put on a page. It's a great learning curve, or learning experience that's going to reduce the curve of me building out the page layouts for the Eberron adventure that we'll be doing next after we're finishing this. So I want to make sure that I'm not procrastinating and hiding from the hard task of doing this by finding other little artsy bits to spend time on with the justification that it's art, it's going to have to be in the book. And yeah, that's true, but then there's also mincing and hiding from something that's difficult. So I am holding myself accountable to that, and we're slowly getting our way through the document. So I'm hoping that we're still going to be able to finish in January, but if it has to backslide to February, so be it. This whole book has been a massive hold on, wait. Hold on, wait, it's coming. But it's so close to done at this point, and it's just I'm nitpicking with stuff, and well, that's not true. I really do need to resolve and get the Light as Araxis adventure completed, but I still have about 9 pages worth of text, which is less than the 24 we had. So we are coming along, but it's a slow process, but we're getting there. So this is just me, again, confessing and holding myself responsible to the public. Hey, guys, that is getting done, and that I have complications. I'm not perfect at this. I've never done adventure page layout before. It is a different type of beast than mechanics are. Certainly subclass design. It is far more difficult than any other aspect of RPG development. So it's a suitable challenge for the level of skill that I've accumulated over the past few years in doing this type of work. But I don't mind admitting that I'm on the ropes at the moment. But I'm just taking the blows and letting myself center myself. And once I figure out a formatting for, like, right now I'm dealing with astral travel and who knows what, and how to efficiently express what information can be gleaned from each NPC in the game to help navigate through astral. Because if you check out the videos that I have on my channel, I did maybe a 15-minute diatribe on how familiarity changes the travel time spent in the astral sea. And so the book, that's not something that wizards needed to worry about. They didn't think of that. So it's the way that they frame getting from one system to another, or one part of the adventure to another through the traveling that you do. It doesn't cross over to the mechanics that we're using, because they didn't have to worry about the mechanics that I'm using. They didn't have to worry about how familiar was each NPC with a location that the team was potentially traveling to. But I have to suss that stuff out, and although I thought I had done a sufficient job with it when I first made the first draft, I'm finding that it's a bit shy on the content that I think at this point, after having worked with this content for a while, like, I think there needs to be more than what I had provided. So I'm reformatting the language and the mechanics, how the mechanics are expressed, like how you actually position all these different aspects of, like, what somebody knows, how long does it take to get that information from them through conversation, and how fast does that result in them being able to get to the destination that they're having a conversation about. So there's a lot of parsing of data into efficient text space on a page, and I'm figuring it out, but it takes frustration and time and all the other things that real artists have to work through, because page layout is real art. If you don't know the page layout experience, watch one of my earlier streams and prepare to get bored, because page layouts is not exotic, exciting content like creating artwork is. And it requires concentration. It requires saying the words over and over again to yourself to see how they fit on the page, to find where you can reduce the text on this line by one letter so that it fits in one line and doesn't have a widow hanging off on the end, down on its own line. Like, the struggle is real, man. I do not fault creators that end up having things spill from one column to the next in weird, nonsensical spacing because they can't figure out how to parse the language down in the document less, so they can take up less space with the sentence they have to write to make the thing work the way it's supposed to. That is a difficult challenge, and I have been wrestling with it for weeks now, and I'm figuring it out. So again, this is just me confessing where I'm at with the project, holding myself accountable. If I start doing Kickstarters like I want to, this is a conversation I'm going to have to be able to hold with my patrons on a regular, to be able to just own where I'm at and where the process is and what do I need to do to be able to move forward, and blah, 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 blah. All the bits. Almost there. Stay on target. This is basically the maxim that we're holding right now. But it's going to be gorgeous when it's done, man. I can see it. It's just, you got to grind it out and suss it and figure it out. And once we do, it's, God, it's going to be so good. So once we finish these illustrations, With God's grace, we're going to be done with the Lyzaraxis formatting. But again, the first 10 pages are already formatted. So once I finish these illustrations, I can start. I've got one more illustration after this. And so once we finish that, we'll be able to then go down into the Lyzaraxis appendix and start adding all the assets and the maps and the tokens and stuff as the illustration space for the pages that we have finished, so we can be pushing forward in our layouts ahead of where we're at with our illustration placements. So we'll just start cascading through that effect and just keep moving forward together. So maybe that'll put a fire under my ass and break free some some desperate inspiration to make the thing move forward exactly when it has to be moved forward for us to continue moving. Otherwise, we can go back and we can start building packaging for the tokens and the ships and the maps to build all that stuff out so that it's ready to go. So we don't have any more hang time than we already do, because I still have to do packaging and promotion pages, and so I'm probably going to end up spilling into February. I'm just going to own it. That really makes me frustrated. But it is what it is, and I can't make it happen any faster than it does. So, but it's incredibly soon. Incredibly soon. I keep moving the ball forward. So we're eventually going to get over the finish line. Bob's my uncle. We'll get there. But this is another reason why I'm not doing Kickstarters yet, because I need to become reliable and better understand the time frames needed to do these things. And sometimes, like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in this project is the first time that I've dealt with this type of development. So, but I'm going to have to get good at it for me to be able to successfully build Kickstarters. So this is good training for me. When I am ready, when I have all my ducks in a row, when I understand how to do all this stuff, I'll be able to knock out some real bangers. That looks pretty cool, man. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks great. All right, so moving along. I am water tea. I am no longer iced tea. I am water tea. No, I want to erase. Thank you. I've got the black back circle here, and I put in a bluishness. This is ice. So what I want to do is have a similar language as I had over on the on the Earth planet, but I want to break it up like these little ice chunks, right? Anyway, hopefully it's a different material, it's a different type of texture than Earth. Mr. Ed says nothing at all unless he has something to say, because a horse is a horse, of course, unless, of course, it's the famous Mr. Ed. No one's ever heard of a talking horse, of course. That's what it is. Horse, a horse, of course, and no one's heard of a talking horse, of course, unless, of course, they've heard the voice of the famous Mr. Ed. People go yakety yak and waste the time of day, but Mr. Ed says nothing at all unless he has something to say. Yeah, it feels pretty good. So let's start doing some cleanup here. I'm gonna do that on another layer, I think. I think this is actually a job for my wedge chisel, my guitar pick, as it were. Let's go find my pick. Pick. There we go. So if I can get these lines straightened out and crack-like, then I can go over and I can highlight the edges that are catching at odd angles. Light those up. That's gonna look really, really good when it's done. Just gotta get it all squared away. those lines all straightened out like that. There we go. Good. Almost there. Staying on target. There. From the edges. Good. Oh, I like how this is going. I like these little, the little parallel running lines, but it looks too sketch. Like it doesn't seem like it's natural cracking of ice. It just seems like I'm sketching. It feels too much like line work instead of actually broken surface. So I have to render more detail to get the material effect correct. I could then, if I wanted to, traipse along and build these little fingerling fractions. That'd be totally fine. But the underlying structure of the sphere has to be rendered well enough to accept. Like it has to look like. What am I trying to say? It has to look like it's there has to be a certain level of polish for me to be able to introduce sketch, if that makes sense. Otherwise, the composition feels disjointed. Like that right way to express that. It needs to be curved. Very good. Oh, my eye socket. Blurf. All right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Just because. My God, that's some bitter coffee. Holy crap. Almost there. I'm pretty happy with that. That feels really good. Fire. I need to toss some more lumber on the fire. Hold on, real quick. Be right back. Tossing firewood onto the fur. I bought a bunch of lumber yesterday. Stock up for the cold weekend. Because it is, it's like 20 degrees right now in Seattle, so it's nice and cold. Stay on the fence, buddy. Thank you. Be right back. There you go. All right. Let's have at it. 7:05. Cool. I've still got. Still got some time. Let's create a new layer. Let's switch here. We're using the here as a center point for where all this lighting is facing. So there has to be some sort of a highlight or an edge for this for these highlights to exist. So that means that there needs to be a central frame of reference for the lighting to come from to hit the edges on, which we're just making the middle of the planet, facing forward, as it were. Good. All right, I'm content with that. I think it pulls off the effect I wanted. Cheers. Merge that down. And then ice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's see. What do we want next? Smoke? Let's do smoke. How do we want to do smoke? Do I want to pull? Let's go fetch. Smoke. Ooh, this might be a good one. KSN TV, thank you for your contribution. Why are you... I fucking hate the internet. Thank you, fucking piece of shit. Frustrating that the internet just isn't easy to... There, we'll do a little bit of... Yeah, that feels right. We'll do some of that. Just gonna start off like this. And then we'll switch back to our cloud brush because that's how smoke does. Start with some jumbly tumblies like this. Let pinwheel around the space a little bit to just create some texture and grittiness to the atmosphere a bit. Isn't quite the effect that I want, but I'm liking the general vibe of it. good. And then let's take... smoke. That feels pretty good. Hey, Bootleg, how you doing, my guy? So where are we at? Air, earth, fire, water, ice, smoke. We still have ooze and magma to do. So, eating some soup. No, right on. I've got a fat bowl of ramen waiting for me for lunch today. Looking forward to it. So this is an okay underpainting, I think, for the grittiness. Like I think the grittiness of texture, I think, for smoke is coming through okay here. Or just planets. It's a world composition. Roll on the following to determine the primary element of each planet or moon. On the previous page, this is a random system generator that we built. So. Appendix 1, random system generator, system radius, number of planets, planet diameter, central star, some options there, orbiting moons. That's the first page. And I'm probably going to leave this space blank just to have just some resting space for the eye. You have to have negative space as well as populated space. So, but that's the spiel. So you go through, you build your system, number of planets in it, the central star, how big each planet is, how many moons are orbiting around each planet. Like I can, yeah, I'm good with that. And then that's the first page, and then here's the page that we're working on right now. So once we have all of the size of the place and the number of moons and planets, then for each of the planet and moon in the system, you can do a composition. And then you have unusual compositions. We're working on para-elemental compositions here. So 7 out of 8 times you're going to have a normal type of world. And each of these worlds is going to have some sort of atmosphere going on with it. And then we have asteroid sizes that can go along in the world. Like you can have an Oort cloud instead of a planet. Instead of a world, it's a scattered field of asteroids in a shared orbit around the central star, right? Like our system has. And then this determines the size of each asteroid. So that's why we were depicting this and making this. And then here on the next page, air quality. To determine the general air quality of a world, roll on the air quality table or below as determined by the world. Air world, fire world, air world, earth world, fire world, water world, air quality. Air world is a D8. Obviously, an air world has to have an atmosphere because it's a fucking air world. So I had to build the chart so that I could have just one and done for each type of element, but sculpt the die roll to fit with what actually happens in the quality in the composition of the material. Like a fire world has to have an atmosphere as well to consume it. A water world doesn't necessarily need an atmosphere, but then you can see this applies to the air surrounding the water. Roll D8 to determine the quality of water for aquatic life. So this is the quality of air that the aquatic creatures can breathe inside of that. So it was fun sculpting the die roll and the order of air qualities that happen here to be able to sequence properly together. And then again, here with the para-elementals, it spells out roll D6 plus 5 on the air quality table below. So that's magma. I think that's broken. Hold on. Did I update this in the document? I think I updated this in the document, but didn't update it here. D6 plus 5. Is that even possible anymore? Oh, yeah. Air quality. Yeah, I updated that's right. I updated all the air qualities to accommodate the wider spread. This is an old document. This is an old page. Here's the new hotness. So Air World does a D10. Earth World does a full D12. Fire World does a D6 plus 4. So it can only go from 7 to 10. So the air quality in a fire world is going to be foul air or deadly air, but it's never going to be fresh air because it's a world that's on fire. It's making lots of smoke, right? So I had to recurve. All the numbers to make that work, but they do. So yeah, thank you. Well, hey, Boot. Sorry, I fell through time. I forgot that I said hi already. I didn't realize that there's so much going into random generating planets, moons. Like, damn. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Yeah, I love fucking random. I fucking love random tables. They're great, and they get the visibility. We have a mechanical table. We have a table about how far you can see objects depending on how large they are. The larger the object, the further away you can see it. The further away you can be able to see detail with it compared to smaller objects. So when you're in an atmosphere that has reduced visibility, it cuts down the range that you can make out details and notice objects. So we had to take that into account with a different type of world. So the Paralemental tables has air quality and visibility resolved depending on the type of composition it is. And then you have world temperatures, which is largely based on its position in relation to the central star. And then once you have your array of how far it is, you look at the table over here for the results for the actual heat level from unnatural heat to unnatural cold. And then we have inhabitants. You can pause this if you want to look at it, but it breaks down the order of complexity of creature as you move down the table. And you can fuck around with what type of creatures on a planet by manipulating the rolls, and the same way we're manipulating the visibility and the air supply. But I love building tables like that has an array, a progression, and then you can only hit a certain band within that progression. So it's just, I think I like doing random tables like that. It's a lot of work to make them work right, but it's worth. Yeah, there's one to love it. Yeah, I know, right? And you can. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. It's super fucking fun. So I'm glad you're jiving with it because it's just 4 pages. It's super simple. I could do a super ultra deep dive into it, like what kind of plant life or whatever's there. But you only need to dive down so far. And at some point, it's like the DM can take over and start creating on their own at some point. But yeah. Very, very proud of these tables. Very, very proud of them. They're fun. Let's find. There, that's good. We just use our Bob Ross cloud technique to smudge these into smokiness, and then we can move on to the next one. What is it? 7:25 now, so I got about 25 minutes left. We're doing okay. I'm glad you get it. It's cool when new people show up and they like immediately glom on to what we're doing here. It tells me that we did it right, and that's going to have value for people, and it's going to be that's worth investing in. So that makes me very, very happy. Thank you. You just don't know until you know. And one of the super stealth reasons behind doing these things on stream is to be able to get feedback like that. Like I've gotten feedback from folks in the now that's like, that's kind of difficult to understand. Can you parse that differently? And it made me go back and look at the language of how to describe a particular technique or mechanic or something. There's a lot of value in sharing and having that share space where people can critique and comment on stuff. Which is why I like to make so much of my stuff just visible for people to play around with. I really value it. Drop the opacity a bit to make it blend into the lower layers, and then we put in another layer in on top of it. So we have this stacking effect that creates volume without having to sweat too much. Like by doing separate layers, simple layering, you can have a lot of complexity and depth without having to think through the complexity and depth. The randomness of it itself kind of resolves it for you as a designer. Just have to have a good organic bend to how you lay down pixels. Like that. Alarm. 25 minutes on the block. So I'm going to be back today. We're going to work on. We're going to make the Gruul Barbarian today. I don't know. Maybe Ancestral Guardian. I don't know. I don't know exactly what type of a barbarian we're making. I know it's going to be a bugbear. And it's Gruul, so it's red-green magic. But beyond that, I don't have any expectations yet. So I intend to spend about 90 minutes today at lunch, which will be in about, probably in about 5 hours, I think, is when I'll have the ability to do that. There's always a little bit of flex time because I'm taking a lunch off of my day job. So I got to be in a place where I can step away from the computer for a while to be able to take that lunch. So there's always a little bit of variable involved when I'll actually get started. But it's one of the joys and privileges of being able to work from home, you know, white collar job environment. I work for a marketing company. I do analysis and lead generation stuff. So it's a lot of computer techie things. So I have a lot of flex and float and mobility about how I spend my day and when, but I got to parse it out properly. So I'm taking care of my team. There, that's feeling really good. I'm gonna grab this reference again. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. Makes me motivated to do well at my job. Instead of lamenting that I have a job, I can be thankful that that reality has set it up so that I can have a sense of abundance and fulfillment with the art that I do, while allowing me to commit to being present and active in my job instead of trying to like quiet quit or cheese it. I don't want to do that. I want to respect the space. We're just about done with smoke, I think. Almost there. This one's looking good. This one's looking good. Let's carve out some of that. Thank you. I can push this out to the edge, and then I can use the background, the circle background, to get rid of the hazy expansions. Almost there. Was it? Wondering what a storm would look like on a smoke planet. Really digging how these ones. Hey, thanks. Yeah. What would a storm look like? I guess it depends. Like if there's like free floating ash and grit in the sky, I guess it'd be kind of like. If you've seen The Martian, the Matt Damon movie about the botanist that got left on Mars after a shale storm, basically. There's just a bunch of grit flying around. I think I think that'd probably be an accurate depiction. And we drop down to here, and then I can go like this, select outside of the space, and delete, 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 delete. There you go. Keep the edges clean. Yeah. It would be bad. Oops. I want to go up here. I want to push this out over the edge, actually. That's probably going to be good enough. No, let's do this. Let's go here, 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 here. Let's do this. Clean that up a little bit, and we'll be able to move on to the next. We're going to run out of time, probably, before we finish these up, but we'll see. I think magma is going to cause us the most trouble. So I'm going to go to ooze next. Ooze. Ooze. Oozy McGee, yeah. That feels pretty good. Probably means I need to switch those around like that. So I'm using the fade background a little bit better. And the ice effect, let's peel that open again here real quick. I like that. That worked out. But did it? Hold on. Just give me some wood and I'll build you a cabinet. Let's drop the opacity on these real quick so I can see where it is that we're actually at. Hold on, I'll get you. There. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that helped. Muchly. All right. Yeah, we're doing pretty good here. I think the textures are doing. This is this one is the only one that I think is the most off kilter. But I think it gets the point across. It's quote unquote good enough, right? Let's see. Let's go on. Let's get into ooze. So let's go. Plane of ooze. Let's see what that does for us. Ooze. Oh, well, this will work. Or maybe not. Ooze para elementals. I don't know who created these, so hard to give tribute to it. Mud elemental. Mud might actually be the good way to go. Bottom of the lake. I'm trying to find a. I think this one's my best bet so far. Who was this? Let's see who you are. I want to give credit to who you are. That's not bad. Who is this? Hey, Joa. Marco Medina. Right on. Hey, good work, guy. I'm going to borrow this from you. I hope you don't mind. I need some color references. I don't see color, so this is how people that don't see color can do color. We import pictures from outside of the world. We use our RGB scale up here in the upper right-hand corner. Yeah, up over there. You can see that over here. See, I can use my color picker tool to find the depth of the I only have contrast since I have only gray vision. I only work in contrast. So I can visualize the kind of crisp contrast I want in a piece, and then find an image out there in the real world that has coloring that fits the general light dark values that I want for what I'm imagining. So in this instance, I'm seeing this sort of a feel. So I'm going to go with something dark like this. See, I can see the RGB here. It's pushing R, so it has that muddiness to it, right? And I think that's appropriate for ooze. I can still see like it's bending towards yellowish up in here. Like when the R and the G are the same, that's yellow. RG high, B fall, yeah, again, yellow. So that's how colorblind people can paint in color. As far as I know, I'm the only one in the world that does it. I shouldn't be, but I'm pretty sure I am. So we're just gonna throw some muck in on here. I'm gonna try to do like the smokiness effect is easy because of the cloud because the cloud brushes I use via Bob Ross. Ooze is going to be a little bit more liquidy, so like somewhere between smoke and liquid. So I'm gonna have to suss that out. But so this is gonna end up spilling over into Monday, I can tell, because we only have like 15 minutes left at best. I'm gonna actually change my clock, give myself 15 minutes. I'll probably finish ooze, but that means that we'll do lava, we'll do magma. We'll do magma on Monday, and that's Martin Luther King's day, so my day job we use that as a holiday. So I have that day off. So I'll be able to, I won't be limited by 8 o'clock. Like, it won't be beep, 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 8 o'clock, I gotta go, see you later. No, I can stick around longer. I might not stick around longer, but I'm not required to stop at any particular time. But I do find myself needing a break typically after 3 hours or less, depending on what the momentum of the day is doing. But I'll have, but the day I can spend the day doing like the page layout design and stuff for the Lies of Raxus here. I'll show you guys where that's at. I need to pin this and move that. Appendix 2, LOX layout. So here's how our layouts are sitting so far. When you're doing a conversion guide for an existing adventure on DMsGuild, you can't publish the entire adventure, but you can make reference to the different portions of the adventure and say, here's how we want you to change it. So throughout the book, it's like Astral Reign is the first chapter. This chapter is unchanged. The following information provides combat statistics for Moondancer. Chapter 2. This chapter is unchanged, except note as actually I should probably just add that language in here, is unchanged. There, except as noted here. So each of these sections is one of the sections that's actually in Light of Araxis. So this is the chapter title. They have Aboard the Moondancer as a section, so then we break down the Moondancer, the weapons, and what the crew can do aboard the Moondancer using the mechanics that we've built in this book, using the action economy and combat abilities as per round combat that we outlined earlier on in the book. This is a practical guide to take an adventure that was designed using Spelljammer 5e, Light of Araxis, and how would we modify that using all the rules that we built inside of this book. So that's the exercise, and it's kicking my ass. But I've never had to do a professional page layout for an adventure before. So this is all uncharted territory for me. So this is all these blank spaces in here we can fill in with artwork and tokens. Token. We have all these tokens that we built back around episode 68 to I think 170, somewhere around in that range. We built all the tokens that we would need for this adventure. So now that we have all those art assets already built, when we finish these illustrations, and there's only one illustration after I have these done, so we'll have that hopefully done next week. And then from there forward, we can just start dropping in tokens, a map space here for like a ship encounter map. And then each of these areas we have increasing the challenge if it's too easy for the team, and if the characters succeed, and if the characters are defeated, what to do and where to move forward from there. Just, pathing through the book like Light of Araxis does, but using all the mechanics that we have in this book to make it work together so that you can see how the mechanics we're introducing in this book are practical and embellish and improve the adventures that were already provided by Wizards. Because the mechanics are supposed to improve the setting that Wizards created. So we want to have the mechanics in the supplement improve the quality of the adventure, which is why we're going through this process of building this. So I have this all broken. This is where a map is going to go. So I'm doing like position placement for the assets that we need. You got, succeed and fail, and then we have further embellishment and succeed and fail inside that challenge, and then continuing on, we have another ship that we have to resolve aboard the second wind instead of aboard the Moondancer, and we process through all that stuff, and we go through the Rieger fight with the aesthetic, and increasing the challenge, and then if they succeed and if they are defeated, and then it goes into the next chapter. So we just keep spilling through the document, and this is where I'm at right now. Where I'm caught up right now, and I was talking about this when we first came in, is that we completely redesigned how astral travel works based on your familiarity with the destination. That was something that they didn't have to worry about when they first created the document, the actual adventure. So where I'm choking right now was finding out how can I build the language that explains Topola's familiarity with the next locations where the team wants to go to. So I had to parse that out. But then on top of that, I had to find all the different references of characters that the team is going to interact with that could lead them to Doomspace, and all the characters they can interact with that would lead them to Zaraxxus space, and I have to start parsing that out. Last night I started figuring out how I actually wanted to frame somebody's familiarity with something as it becomes relevant. And then beyond that, I have the actual asteroid, the asteroid belt challenge for the Omama. And you can see here that I'm still processing through the layouts here. Like all of this is going to end up getting cut and pasted down to a later portion of the adventure where it's going to be relevant later. But right now I have a shark fight I have to resolve after this, and all of the different locations inside of the map, the asteroid map, where it modifies how Omama will engage with people. And once I get all this parsed out, I'll be coming back through here to lay in all these assets and tokens and stuff online here with us right now, like we're doing this. But the goal of this appendix is to not need any new illustrations, but to take all the tokens that I built for the adventure and populate them throughout the document so they provide visual elements that are both informative about what mechanics are we talking about and the aesthetic of the tokens that go along with it, because those tokens are included with the book. So we'll be using the actual map assets that you'll use to run the adventure as our visual elements inside of the document for the illustrations. So a lot of pieces coming together, and I'm still figuring out how specifically I'm supposed to do that. But that's what I'm choking on right now. So off screen in the evenings and downtime that I have away from camera, that's what I'm fighting with all the time. And it ain't easy. If it was easy, everyone would fucking do it. Or, you use AI. I don't know, man. I don't know what the future's supposed to be. I just know what I like to do, and I just hope it's viable, So we're adding in this rough, low, muddish language here. There, it feels pretty good. And we can layer and we can start. It's the same process that we did for smoke, but I'm hoping I'll be able to be a little more delicate with how I do it, so it feels more liquidy than smoky. I'm not sure exactly how I need to do this, but this is what my muse tells me she wants. So I do what she says. And the way that the Greek muses is the reference that I'm using here. My intuition. I have a very I have a lot of communication in my mind between my source of inspiration and my waking self. And the best way I can express it is it's a personality, like the muses from like Xanadu, like Olivia Newton-John from Xanadu. As Ozzy Osbourne would put it, there's a woman who lives in my head, and she is my muse and is the source of inspiration that feeds me ideas. And sometimes it's very literal. Like a very literal voice, don't do that, or do this instead, or sometimes it'll just be a download of information, like here's an image and here's some mechanics that go along with that, play with that for now. But so that it gets expressed a couple different ways, but all of it I fondly just refer to as my muse. And so the way that I characterize it is that my own personal philosophy is the simulationist theory that we inject ourselves. We're hyperdimensional creatures that are intentionally limiting our own self-awareness so that we can go through the struggle of discovering divinity again for the first time. And that discovery process is that awakening of samsara that is described in like Indian and Buddhist philosophy of reaching that in state of enlightenment. And when you reach that state of enlightenment, you rediscover that we chose to do this to have the joy and privilege of seeing eternity fresh and new again. And I dive into that occasionally in conversations, and I'm bound to do so again at some point. But the point I'm making right now, using that as my frame, is that we are intentionally cutting ourselves off from 99% of who we really are, specifically so we can develop that sense of empathy and caring for each other and appreciation and wonderment and process and struggle, so that when we go back to heaven and have eternal perfection, we can appreciate it again, because you burn out. If you've seen The Good Place, you know what I mean. And so Good Place is amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen The Good Place, you should totally see it. It's like an instruction manual to life. It's fucking awesome. But having said that, there's a large population of very kind souls that are rooting for each and every one of us in the struggles that we have in our life. And a muse is kind of like a co-pilot. That, like, if you can understand this frame of reference, back in the day, like, there was this magazine called Nintendo Power, for when Nintendo, the NES, the original NES, was new in the 90s, right? So Nintendo Power was a Nintendo produced publication, which was basically an advertising magazine, but it provided like full maps to a game. It's like, hey, you just picked up Kid Icarus. Here are all the maps for Kid Icarus. Go buy it and play it. Good luck. And so when when I was growing up and I was a kid and I was 14 years old and we were playing Kid Icarus, my friend Kyle, he had 3 brothers, so we would rotate and take turns to play through that. It was a 60-hour adventure, and there was 4 of us, so we could parse it out. So 12, we'd chew on 12 hours a piece or whatever, roughly. And so we'd have Nintendo Power, and one of us would be a co-pilot. We'd be navigating, knowing where the adventure would take us. It's like go left, right, or whatever it is. Sometimes we wanted the struggle of figuring it out on our own. But if it got too annoying, or if the game was bad and we just wanted to get it done, we'd crack open Power and start navigating through it with the cheat codes and stuff that they gave us, just to be able to defeat the thing, so we could just, chalk it off as victory. So in this scenario, my muse that's inside of me, that provides me inspiration, it's as though she already has this document in the future. She knows exactly what this book looks like. And she is feeding me information. It's like, go here next and fix this thing, because it's out of alignment with what we know the document is eventually going to become. And you're going to love it. So just do this, and it's you. So in a way, I'm my future self is feeding information to my present self, that this is what this book will become, and here's all the things you can do with it. So start building. Because we can't talk about it until it's actually manifested. So we want you to manifest this book. Get to work. So that's the muse process that I go through. At least that's how I describe it. And maybe that's insane to some people. But I've had a really heavy intuitive connection with myself since I was a little kid. And I've always been compelled to follow what these things tell me to do. And they lead me to insane, miraculous events, and I won't deep dive into that now, but because I'm almost out of time. I've got like 2 minutes left, so this is not the time for me to go on a diatribe about how amazing life really is, and the miracles that await all of us if we just let go of the handlebar, throw your hands up ahead, and just go down the hill on a bike like a kid. Just fly through reality and trust that you're being taken care of. That is the trickiest part. But art, like I talk about, art is like a cheat code to getting access, because of the source of inspiration that wants you to create things. You can build tangible results from what our intuition feeds to us. Every time you complete a picture that was fed to you by inspiration, it reinforces. Inspiration is you can have an active living relationship with your inspiration, with your muse, to guide you to become more than you thought you could be. And life becomes a game. And you rack up experience points by letting go and trusting that you're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing, taking the next step that's meant to lead you to the destiny of you falling in love with reality all over again, and being welcomed back to heaven with open arms. And well, I'll probably have a fresh beer cracked for me, so we can go through the catalog of cool stuff that we did. But everyone's world is different. But that is what I'm led to believe about mine. So this is rougher than the smoke, right? But it's not oozy. It's a decent layer, but I'm going to have to like reduce the size and increase the opacity here so I can carve like little, like I want to be somewhere between, like I want to be somewhere between this and this, right? Like this is hard edge, defined space, pockmark. Well, this is more slippery. So I want to have like this viscousness with this chunkadiness, which is what I'm attempting to achieve here. So I've got all this modeledness. What I need to do is flow through and block it down more like this. So it feels a little bit more like this flow, but not so liquidy, you know, a little more chunkity. I'm working on it. It's going to be a delicate balance to be able to pull off the effect, but I think if I do some like blurbly, bubbly type of stuff, I'll like liquidy, like this is covered in these little pock marks, right? If I can pull that pock mark off in a more liquidy sort of feeling, I think I can get that. I think I can get that muddiness that I'm looking for. So that's where we're at. So what'll happen on Monday when we come back and do this again, because it's Friday now. So we'll come back on Monday and we'll probably spend 3 hours to finish this ooze, and then we'll do magma, and that'll probably be my day. And then I'll skip out for a few hours, work on Lyzaraxis some more. Come back in, we'll build on Monday. We're going to do an Izzet, our first artificer for the Martial Powers books. We'll do an Izzet Goblin Artificer. And we'll build that guy out, and then I'll drop off screen, and then I'll work on Lyzaraxis some more until 7:30, and then I'll come back on. We'll do more Eberron token art Monday night. So today we're gonna come back in about 4.5-ish hours to work on the Bugbear Gruul Barbarian, and we'll build that guy out probably hour 90 minutes, however long it takes, something like that. And then I'll drop off screen, and then I'll finish out my day. I'll go out and do my Friday night stuff, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning, and we'll work in about 25 and a half hours at 9:30 till 11:30 tomorrow. I'll work on the Ravnica Rubble Belt Hex Crawl campaign setting that we're building to playtest Martial Powers at 3rd level using pre-generated characters, or if somebody wants to make their own character using the power system, great, bring in your character and create the action loop that you want. But we're building these pre-generated characters to set up and see how you can curve into different action economy and different combo techniques to be able to execute effects in combat and out of combat. So that's the exploration that we're doing there. So if that makes sense. Anyway, so that's what we'll be doing. So I'm going to drop out for now so I can pay Caesar what is due unto Caesar and earn my keep to be able to come back and keep doing this stuff. So, yep. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Boot. I will, everyone else, I'll see you guys in the future. Thanks a lot for being here. If you think this shit's cool, please consider like, subscribe, and hit your bell icon here. Like, subscribe, bell icons. Be welcome to check out the back feed, or you can jump here into Phil Kearney, and here's a list of different Spelljammer tear-out conversations I've had about different mechanics and philosophies that are throughout this game that help you get a better understanding as to why we're building this thing in the first place. And then our live stream here is the Eberron stuff, Spelljammer. There's a ton of it, so you can go to the playlists if you want to see all the different stuff that we've been building. So there you go. Here's all the different playlists of stuff that I've built in the past. You can check this stuff out if you want. But I'm out of here for now, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for hanging out. And later, Gators.